This week we're back in IL-2. In my opinion, this game has the premier dogfighting experience in all of air simming. The variety in fights, the quality in opponents, and the breadth of coverage in the game really makes for a good experience. While the game has been out for a while, it's really easy to forget this, but I just want to remind people that if you're really interested in refining and maintaining your skills, I would urge you to set some time aside for IL-2. In this game, we are doing a breakdown of a solo sortie I had in a ME109 Emil on the Finnish server. If this is your first time here, this channel focuses on multiplayer sim gameplay, so if you're into that, please subscribe. We start this sortie off over the front line, where I quickly spotted contact, and I'm not quite sure what it is, but it does look large. And I'm thinking to myself, it's either a 110 or an IL-2, and now that I see the silhouette, I know it's an IL-2. Now from this point, what I would like to do is come up from under the IL-2 and knock out its radiators, because generally it's a good way to knock out the plane while saving a lot of ammo. And I'm trying to position myself for that while checking my 6. And what we're going to see here is that the IL-2 is going to pull up, and because of this, I actually decide to opt for a pilot snipe. Good way to knock out the plane with using little ammo. Using the machine guns to lead my shots, and I get pretty good hits along the cockpit area. And it looks like that the pilot has been knocked out, and I'm going to keep an eye on him to make sure he's just not faking it, because sometimes people will do that in online and pretend that their pilot's knocked out and then pull up at the last second. So it looks like he despawned, which means I got him. And what I want to do here is keep an eye out, because I have fired some shots. People might have seen the tracers. And what we see here is I have something right behind me in my control zone, which is a little scary. And what I like to do here is get some speed and do a split S and use the good rolling of the 109 to try to hope that the other guy's too fast and can't keep up. And what we see here is that he is actually able to keep up, and he's actually quite close. So I'm going to have to do an overshoot, because this is a lag and he's going to outrun me. And I should start dropping flaps now to try to build a difference in speed, and I'm trying to keep my nose under his so there's no way that he can hit me. And as he slips out past me, I should raise my flaps, which I'm doing now, and gun the throttle. And this guy, it seems like he's panicking and coming over the top. He's not fast enough to do this, and I have a better climb rate than him. And just kind of like the IL-2 shot, I use my machine guns to go ahead and walk my cannons into him. This is probably not necessary, but I wanted to make sure that I knocked this guy out and was done with it quickly. So 2 kills really quickly, but now I have very little energy. I'm on the deck and I'm exposed, and I'm right next to the smoke on the front line. So I am in a way sticking out like a sore thumb, or I look like a really easy kill. So I want to stay low, use the terrain masking, visual terrain masking if you will, and try to slip out of here and then get some altitude and some energy back so I can basically defend myself. And while doing that, I see something coming at me, and I identify it's a P40. So based on that, I start to pull really hard. These P40s aren't really great turners, but they're really great divers. So I'm stuck here. I'm not going to be able to outrun this guy when he has so much altitude. And what I'm thinking here is to build up my speed and just to try to keep heading east and hope that a friendly will come by. Now he's making a second pass. He won't be as fast as the first one because he just did a big loop. And what I'm doing is waiting for his energy to not run out, but to kind of dry out a little bit, because he's staying flat. He's already dove, and as he gets closer, I start to turn into him. And I'm out of his gun sight. He starts to pull up, and I'm going to go chase up after him. Now I make a mistake here by missing a really easy shot by not using rudder enough, and we both stall out. So this is a good situation for me now, because not only am I behind him, but we're both quite slow, and the 109 does outturn the P40, so I have more options than he does. And I think what's going to happen here is I have my flaps at 15%, and I'm gunning it with my throttle, so I'm staying behind him. There's no chance of me to overshoot him, and it looks like this guy just kind of has run out of options. Low on ammo, so using machine guns to basically inform my cannons should go, and I'm able to knock him out. So the takeaway from this is keep your eyes open, understand what your plane's good at, don't be scared of using overshoots, and once you get into a good situation, you can maintain it by just essentially using flaps and just staying behind someone so they can't do the same thing to you with an overshoot. So I thought it'd be helpful to actually talk about what the enemy could have done now that we've covered my part. This overshoot happened because a difference in speed was made. This lag was barreling down on me, and he tries to stay with me in the scissor. And what he could have done is he could have perched up and done a high yo-yo. And if he would have done that, he would have slowed himself down, he would have gained some altitude, and he would have been in a good position to dive back down on me. The lag is faster than the 109E on the deck, so I wasn't going to get away from him just by flying straight, and that was a huge mistake that he made. So the main takeaway for him should be to understand when you're getting scissored, when you're going to lose a scissor, and to back up and to keep your options open. Now in the second option, we have something else going on. What we have is a P40 that dove in with a lot of smack, which is great. When he missed it, he didn't try to pull super hard and bleed all his E. He actually looped back up to take another pass, which is the right thing to do. Now, I think the mistake that he might have made was that he was a little impatient, or a little desperate maybe, because he dove back down really far away, and in this time the P40 is basically just shedding all that extra speed that it picked up in the dive, because he's just staying flat for a really long time, and I'm not really entertaining it or reacting. I'm just staying flat and letting him spend as much time as possible horizontal. By the time he comes in, he does pull really hard, and it's probably because he thought he had to hit it, and he doesn't necessarily really try to go that vertical. I mean, he does go vertical, but not like the lag. So he probably knew that he's going to have to commit to this fight. Now, at this point, I would probably argue that it's probably over for the P40, especially in IL-2. P40's engine's going to conk out. It's not going to be able to turn with the 109. It's pretty much toast. And I can see a lot of the indecision here. Like, you can see his wings are to the right, and then he's like, oh, I'm going to reverse my turn. Oh, maybe not. And he's just kind of a sitting duck. And with my flaps down and my engine pegged, like, I'm not really going anywhere. I'm going to stay right behind him. So the thing here that I would recommend for the P40 is that it's okay to let things go. I was pretty far east at this point. I was getting close to my airfield. Probably not the best idea to take a second pass in this area. He would more than likely was going to get third-partied anyways. I hope this video was interesting for you, and I hope it gave you something to think about. If it did, please consider subscribing and let me know what you thought about this in the comments below. Thank you.
Yeah.